You clicked on this video because you want your game to go from this to it feeling like it's buttery smooth. Well, I can assure you, you are in the right place, because in today's video, I'm going to be going over the best tips to help you guys reduce all input delay on Fortnite and hopefully make it feel like you're playing on 0 ping. Obviously, Fortnite is a very massive game, so there's a lot of different platforms and stuff. So how I'm going to structure this video is that in the beginning, I'm going to be talking about stuff you can do on both console, PC, mobile, whatever you play on. And then towards the later end, we'll have some more PC exclusive and console exclusive tips. So make sure you watch the entire video so you don't miss out on anything. Right now, as you guys can see, I'm right over on Fortnite, and we're going to get started with the in-game settings. All right, these are going to be your bread and butter settings no matter what platform you play on. And again, if you're on console, obviously I'm on PC. If you're on console, just follow along to the best of your ability. If you see the option I'm talking about and it's there for you, put it to the setting I'm changing it to. So obviously on PC, you want to make sure you're on the best graphics settings. Now, good rule of thumb, you want everything on low except your view distance, and for me, your textures. If you're playing on DX12 performance mode, you want to go ahead and just have everything set to lower. The first main settings is right here under advanced graphics. Now this might not be for console. Make sure you have this use GPU crash debugging off and also have report performance stats disabled. Okay, good stuff to have. Now let's go ahead and jump over to the audio settings right here. This is where a lot of the main stuff is. Now the first most important thing, this is gonna be for everybody. You have subtitles right here. Click on it and turn off subtitles. Text size turns extra small. Text color, put it on white. The text border, put it on none. Background opacity, put it on clear. This just makes it less processing whenever there's subtitles to be played, whether that be for challenges or whatever. There's less processing power being allocated to that. Within the same audio tab, if you scroll down to the voice chat section of the audio tab, you will see voice chat notifications. Highly recommend having this on off. This is like the little pop-up that shows when somebody's talking. You don't really need that. If you want, you can keep it on, but this, if turn it off, just gives your system one less thing to process, and more of your system's power can go towards the game. Also, sound quality is a pretty big one. I'm playing on high. As low, I haven't really seen like any significant decrease on my personal computer, but it might be worth for you to give it a try and see what happens. But me personally, I'm not gonna recommend it just because I haven't seen no difference. And the sound quality, you do hear a difference in it, and I think high gives you more directional audio so you can hear footsteps better. So that's why I have it like that. All right guys, also in the building tab, you will see the option called disable pre-edit option. I highly recommend you guys turn this off. It's like a night and day difference. I know a lot of you guys have this on because you tend to mess up your pre-edits. My best advice to you there is just try to go into creative and work on the timing. That's the reason why you keep doing pre-edits by accident. If you work on the timing, it'll never happen to you again. And having this off, guys, as soon as you turn this off, you will feel an instant lower input delay on your game. I guess because there's no option blocking the pre-edit, so this is one less thing your game has to calculate. So go ahead and do that, and let me know in the comments if it actually does feel better, if it's just me. But I've had this off for around 11 months now and I haven't looked back since, so highly recommend that. In the game tab, coming after tutorial, make sure you turn contextual tips off. This thing is so annoying and so buggy. I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but at the start of every chapter, it shows like tips sometimes, or even when you make a new Fortnite account, it shows like the tips, and every time those tips pop up on my screen, I can see a major decrease in performance. And these tips will be something simple like if you see an open door, somebody was there. Stuff you don't need, so turn that off. You do not need that, I promise you. All right, this is also for everybody, especially on my console players, man. Turn off your replays. You do not need them. I have them on because I do use these sometimes, but if you don't need to go back in and try to record like gameplay or whatever, you do not need this on, guys. 100% turn them off. Remember, I'm gonna turn them off right now. Listen, you do not need these things, man. All right, coming back down here, you're gonna see energy saving, guys. Now you're gonna turn both of these off. If you want the lowest possible delay, you don't want your PC to go from saving power to pushing all out. You want the PC to just have a nice stream of power go into all your parts, even on your PS4, whatever, if you have this set in. You want this off. You want your system to have as much power as possible so you can keep that input delay as low as possible. All right, next up, guys, for gameplay privacy, I highly recommend you turn off the experience recommendations. Anything that has to do with recommendations here, turn this off, because how these recommendation systems or algorithms work is that they track what you're playing. They track like I don't know, but they're basically tracking your play style, and like what they'll just use to give you recommendations of Fortnite to experiences, whether it might be a creative map that came out. Turn this off, because at the end of the day, all these things will be running in the background to track purchase recommendations. Like, you don't want any of this stuff on, and it's also kind of sketchy. You want, if you're like me, you value your privacy, highly recommend having that off. All right guys, next up, this tip will be for both console and PC. All right, we're gonna go back to the settings again in the main tab right here. For frame rate, there's actually a lot of confusion, I would say, around this. I do not know why, because it's actually a very simple concept. A lot of people tell you to go one up, one down, and you might be confused like what's really the right way. So first things first, take into consideration your monitor's refresh rate. All right, if you don't know what your monitor's refresh rate is, it will be when you purchase it, it'll be in the title, it'll be in the description. It might be like 165, 144, 240, maybe 120. All right, if you're on a TV, guys, I do recommend you put it up to 120 on console because it's there, and console already 60 FPS, you know what I'm saying? Fortnite in 2024, you want to definitely be on 120 at the very minimum. So I highly recommend you play 120 even if you're on TV. If you're on PC, 120 will also be my minimum recommendation. Obviously, if you're on Switch, there's not much you can do. You're forced to play on that 30 FPS, but just make do what you have, man. So for me, how the way I do this is that originally when I was on a 144 hertz monitor, I used to put it at 165, and then I went to like 240 because the way how FPS works, guys, if your PC can handle it, no matter what hertz you're on, I do recommend you going on the highest possible that your PC can handle stable. And the reason for that is because even though you technically won't be able to see it, the higher FPS does give you less input delay. And I'm telling you this from my experience, you will feel it in game. Go ahead, if you're on 144 hertz monitor, put it to 240 if your PC can handle it. All right, if your PC is a little bit more struggling, go to 165, go one up at the very least. And if you really can't get that stable FPS, go to 144 because stability is way more important than having higher numbers. All right, I mean, you don't want to have peaks and dips because that will make your game feel more choppy. You want to have a nice consistent flow of frames coming from your system, that way the game could feel more consistent and it'll be easier for you to press your buttons and have the best timing possible, whether that be for cranking 90s or whatever. Point is, the FPS right here is a very important thing. Obviously, again, on PC you have more options, but if you're on console, go to 120. The higher FPS you can get is the better. If you're on PC, guys, one of the reasons your game could be feeling pretty bad is your drivers. Drivers are a very funny thing. I have an AMD graphics card. You might have like NVIDIA GeForce or something. It's pretty much the same thing. Here, I'm gonna open up AMD real quick. Now, as you guys can see, so here's my home tab right here. All right, drivers are one of the most important things when it comes to your game running smooth and having that input delay the lowest possible. There's actually a lot of confusion around this too, and I'm here to clear it up for you guys. Now, first things first, stop updating your drivers every time there's an update. That's the number one thing I see people doing. Every single time they're gonna update their drivers. Do not do that. The only reason you should be updating your drivers is for number one, there's a very brand new game out that you want to play, and there is a driver release with that game in the title. And we've seen this all the time. Call of Duty, every time a new Call of Duty drops, NVIDIA and AMD will release a driver to support that game better. Now, if you're playing Fortnite, I really do not recommend updating your drivers unless you really have to, okay? On the screen right now, I will put the best driver version for your game. I will do research for this personally for you guys. On AMD, I do recommend this 23.12, which was released back in November, all right? Now, this is actually the latest driver out right now for AMD, which is actually a coincidence because usually I don't update my drivers, but 23.12 has been really nice to me. The game feels fine, so I'm not worried about it. NVIDIA, I'll show up the recommend driver for you, so don't worry about that. Install that, and you want to stay away from updating this for as long as possible. The really only time I tend to update my drivers, guys, is when there's a new season out, or if there's like a new update and I realize my game is feeling sluggish. I'll check if there's a driver to update and I'll update it to see what's going on. And don't forget, guys, you can always backroll your drivers. If anything, you can go back down, so don't worry about that. Another thing is, if you're on PC, guys, head over to display settings, and this goes back to the hertz. Come down to where it says advanced display, and then go ahead to choose your refresh rate. Make sure you're on the highest one possible. Just a small tip in there for all my PC gamers out there, man. A lot of y'all be forgetting to change it from 60, so just putting that in there. All right, guys, going into my next tip, I want to start talking about your connection, guys. First and foremost, everyone, if you have access to it, you should be using a Ethernet cable to your system, whether that be on PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, PC. You guys want to use Ethernet cable if possible. The reason for this is because Ethernet cables are the best way to have a connection to your router. It's direct. There's no wireless connection that could be interfered. It's just one straight line going into your PC. Connecting your PC to the router, that's how you're gonna have the best connection possible. On screen right now, I'll show you guys my recommended Ethernet cables, but a good rule of thumb is just get a Cat 6. Cat 5e works, I think. Cat 6 is like the standard, I would say, for consumers right now. Another thing is, this is a little bonus tip. If you absolutely cannot use the Ethernet cable and you're forced to just use wireless, well, I still have good news for you. I recommend connecting to an optimized DNS server, all right? I'll put the one up I recommend on the screen for NA East. If you're on EU or from like NA West or something, you're gonna want to use a bit different one, but this one here I believe is Cloudflare. Cloudflare, man, is one of the best DNS servers I would say out there. Put the numbers on there, and the reason for this is sometimes when you're connected to the internet, your system will automatically connect to an unoptimized DNS, and that'll kind of give you a higher ping. This one I'm showing up on screen, it used to get my ping down from like 60 to like 20. It's actually insane, and I've had people tell me that they went from like 100 to like 40ish. It's pretty good, especially if you're on the east coast of the United States. It's a really good server. I'll have some more in the description, some more DNS servers. I'll just do some research for you guys, man, because you know that's what I'm here for. But that's all for today's video, man. I hope this helped you out. I hope you guys got a little bit more smoother gameplay. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man. Peace out.